This is a demonstration on how to make a paper mache head. For this project, you'll need an empty toilet paper tube, newspaper cut into strips, paper mache glue, masking tape, newspaper not cut into strips, paintbrush, scissors, lightweight cardboard, and a soft paper such as a napkin. You start with the toilet paper tube. That's going to be the foundation. You cut around the top about an inch and a half all the way around, about 3/4 of an inch apart or something like that. Doesn't have to be exact, but you should try to keep all of the slits the same length. When you finish that, you fold them in like this, because you're going to make a flat surface on the top. And you crease them so they stay down. Now this one is not quite thin enough to actually fold down well, so I'm going to just cut another slit, and I'm going to be able to fold it down then. So it starts like that. Then I'll take a piece of masking tape and just put it over the top to hold it all down. The next step is to make the foundation of the head, which you'll attach to the top of the toilet paper tube. You do this by taking a partial sheet of newspaper and wadding it into a ball like you would if you're going to throw it away. And you might want to add more newspaper if you need a bigger ball, a bigger head. You take another piece, partial sheet of newspaper, and you wrap it over the top of it like I'm doing so that it comes down onto the toilet paper tube. And then you secure it with some masking tape right around the base of the head to hold it in place. The next thing is to build up the different features like the ears or the nose or other parts of the head. Some of these you can do by wadding up partial sheets of newspaper. These you'll want to make smaller balls of newspaper. And I secure those with masking tape too. Now it isn't necessary to cover the whole thing with masking tape. We just want to put on enough to hold it together, basically. And this can be used for several different things. You can put it, you can use it for a nose. You can make a bigger one, make a bigger nose. A longer one, make a longer nose. You could make it like ears if you wanted to, round ears. There's a lot of different things that you could do with a ball of newspaper. Or you can take a partial sheet of newspaper and you can roll it up tightly like this. You could even put a pipe cleaner inside of it so that you can shape it better. And then you can secure it with tape. And it doesn't have to be totally wrapped around every part of it, but just enough to hold, the edges down and things like that. And I'm going to twist it at the top to make it more into a point. And then really wrap the tape around it to hold it into a point. Like this. If I had a pipe cleaner inside of it, I could bend it around a lot more. But you can make, like antennas or horns or things like that. You can bend it and, make it more of a curved thing. But now what I'm doing is making attaching tabs by cutting a slit on each side so that I can spread them out, and then I can tape them right to the head and it'll securely hold this feature. It works very, very well. For some features, such as beaks or pointed ears, lightweight cardboard works the best. For this, what I did is folded the cardboard in half and then cut on the fold to make a symmetrical triangle, and then cut a slit up the base of the triangle along the center fold so that I could fold tabs out to attach it to the base. Okay, hopefully you realize there are a lot of different kinds of features you can make. So obviously yours doesn't have to look like mine, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an example. So I'm putting the ears on right now, and I had to fold the tabs up a little bit higher in order to make the ears equal. because that one was a little taller, but now they're about the same size. And tape them using the attaching tabs. It really works to have good size attaching tabs. Then you really get everything firmly attached. And I'm going to use a ball for the nose, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a piece of tape to tape it on. The tape itself isn't going to actually be what holds everything together. It's just going to start holding it together before I paper mache it. So now I have the nose and the ears, and then I can make like a unicorn horn. And you saw me make one of these, and I folded out the attaching tabs, and then I can tape it down like this and make sure it's secure, because if it's not, then when the paper mache goes on it, then it kind of pulls it off. Okay, so this is what I have for this head here. Okay, now to put on the layers of paper mache. Set up your work area like this, with a piece of newspaper to protect the area so you don't have as much cleanup, and 1 container of glue per table, which is for every 2 people usually. And start out by getting 2 paper strips per person. You can always go back and get more, but sometimes people take whole handfuls and they don't need that much for something this size. And I'm having people use brushes. You don't have to, but sometimes if you just use your fingers, it's so hard to pick things up, everything sticks to them. So I'll let you try both and decide which works best for you. So this is the work area set up. And don't let the glue intimidate you. It looks a little funny, but actually it comes in a box in powder form, and you mix it with water, and I use a blender. And the kids get a little grossed out by it, but it's really nothing. It's just craft glue. So what I do is take my brush and I apply the craft glue to the area where I want to put the first piece of newspaper. And I want to make sure I get good coverage on there. Probably the thicker the better, as long as it's not dripping. And I've actually cut my paper strips into little squares to make it easier to apply. And so then I put my first one right into the glue that I've applied. And then I'm going to cover that with glue. So it's got glue under it, and it'll have glue on top of it. And then I'm overlapping it with another piece. And I've made sure to put enough glue so that it holds that piece down. And then I put glue, I overlap that with glue, and then apply glue to the next area, and then apply my next strip. Really important to make sure they really stick down securely. So if you have to put more glue on or press it down more or whatever you need to do, make sure that there aren't any edges sticking up. Really, really important for your finished product. So now I'm going to speed this up using iMovie so that you can see the whole process in a short amount of time. This might be like 4 times as fast maybe as what I'm actually working. But I cover the whole thing with the paper. Okay, I first brush on the glue, and then I take the square of paper and I really mold it down onto the sculpture and make sure that the glue's holding it down. And then I add more glue on top of it. And for some things, it worked better to use a bigger piece, like more of a full strip instead of just a little square, like when I wrapped it around his nose there. So sometimes different things work better in different places. So I'm going to cover the entire thing with these squares of newspaper overlapping so that nothing shows of the tape or the cardboard that's underneath. And again, I'm going to make it just as smooth as I possibly can, because even when I paint it, that's not going to cover it up if there's a lot of like loose edges sticking up all over the place. Okay, I think it's important to zoom in and slow down a little bit. I just painted some glue on each side of this ear, and then I take a square of newspaper and I wrap it around and I fold it around the edges. See how I make sure that there's always glue under it, and then I fold it right down around the edges. I want the edges to be finished. And so if I have to put a lot of glue on to make it stick, I will, as long as it's not so drippy that it makes everything soft. But really notice how I'm folding it around the edges. I keep repeating it because sometimes it's hard to get it across, but the finished edges make a big difference in how good something like this will look. You want to cover all of the cardboard and then tape and make everything smooth. Now form it around the base of the ear. Make sure that the pieces of the squares overlap. And make sure you get down inside the ear as well. So I put a lot of glue in there, and I'm going to take this one and make sure that it fits right down in there. And I'll finish off the bottom of this by just putting glue on the whole surface and then cutting a strip to size and wrapping it around and, smoothing glue on top of it. Now I'm going to finish the bottom edge too, and so this is how I do it. I basically just take some glue and I brush on the inside and the outside of the bottom edge like this. And then I take a square of newspaper and I fold it over and I make sure that I push it down into the glue so it sticks. Put glue on top of it as well. And I do that all the way around, and I make sure that I overlap all of them. Finished edges are really important on paper mache, I think. Okay, so it would look like this. And here's kind of a close-up of how it would look. For finer features like protruding eyebrows or other things, you could use paper towel or napkin because they're softer paper, and tear it to about the size of the piece that you need, and then saturate it with the glue and mold it with your fingers, and then just stick it right on like that, and just kind of adjust it till you get it where you want it. Okay, and then here's the other one. You can see it done again. Tear off the size that I think I need and saturate it with glue, and then mold it with my fingers to the shape that I want, and then press it down onto the sculpture. And if I need more glue, I'll use more glue. I'll put some right down here on the sculpture, and that'll help hold it, I think. Push it right down like that. And then I'll take another piece, and what I'll do with this is first of all paint glue on the whole surface around those eyebrows and stuff, whatever I've put down there. And then I'll take it and I'll lay it right on top, and I'll form it around the eyebrows, and I'll push it down into the glue. And really sticks pretty well because it's so thin, and I just mold it right down. It'll be easy to keep the loose edges from sticking up on this because it's so soft. It'll stick right down in. And when I put glue on top of this, it soaks right through, so that works pretty good too, to make it lay down and have more of a smooth surface. And so you can do that with various features, the finer ones. You can put a ridge down the back of his neck that way if you wanted to. As I said before, this is just an example of how it goes together, but you'll have a lot of options for designing your own. You can be really creative with it. So I hope you have a good time with it.